Imagine walking into work, thinking today might finally be the day you earn that raise. But before anyone talks to you, before any manager looks you in the eye, the decision has already been made. Not by a human, not by your boss, but by a machine that has never met you. It scanned your movements, counted your steps, calculated the minutes you spent away from your station, and overnight it generated one number: your productivity index. That single score decided everything. And for one warehouse worker in Ohio, it meant this: raise denied. No conversation, no explanation, just a cold notification on his employee portal. And here's the part that shocked him most. His manager didn't even know. The system made the call automatically. If that sounds dystopian, it isn't. It's happening right now. Because in more American workplaces than you realize, the algorithm is already your real supervisor. And the people you think are in charge, they're just monitoring what the system decides. But this story isn't about one worker losing a raise. It's about something far bigger. A shift that will touch every paycheck in America. Across warehouses, call centers, delivery networks, and gig platforms, a new kind of management has quietly taken over. Amazon tracks employees by the second. UPS uses route optimization AI to judge efficiency. Call centers use voice analytics to measure tone, pace, and emotional compliance. And gig workers? Their entire income is determined by hidden algorithms that score performance they can't even see. These systems don't just watch how you work, they measure you. They generate ratings, rankings, and risk scores, all without human review. And in a growing number of companies, your future wage already depends on them. Because if a machine can monitor your productivity, if it can judge your attitude through a microphone, if it can track your speed, your accuracy, even your pauses, then what exactly stops it from controlling your raise, or your bonus, or your entire salary? After all, who's easier for a corporation to negotiate with? A worker asking for more, or an algorithm programmed to say no? And here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Once companies let AI fire workers automatically, there's nothing stopping them from letting AI decide how much those workers are worth. And that's where this story really begins. Now imagine this. You walk across the warehouse floor, and every step leaves a digital footprint. Above you, a network of AI-powered cameras tracks micro-movements you don't even realize you're making. When you bend, when you pause, when your pace slows by 2%, the system converts your body into a heat map: bright red when you're moving fast, dull blue when you're not. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if the equipment is malfunctioning. The algorithm doesn't care. It only sees patterns, delays, deviations, and every second of that surveillance feeds into a score that shapes your future at the company. In some facilities, AI doesn't just know how long you work. It knows when you take a breath. And when you think no one is watching, the system is quiet, unblinking, always running in the background. This isn't science fiction. It's the new operating system of American labor. And workers across the country are being judged by metrics they will never see, calculated by models they'll never understand. But here's the part no one expects. The real story isn't that AI is watching workers. It's that AI is learning how to price them. And once a machine decides your value, the rules of the American paycheck will never be the same. Trap 1. Companies love AI because it's cheaper. Here's the first trap, and it's the reason this future is almost impossible to stop. Companies aren't adopting AI because it's futuristic. They're adopting it because it's cheap. A human manager takes time. A human manager needs training. A human manager can make mistakes. And most importantly, a human manager can say yes to a raise. AI can't. AI never asks for higher pay. AI never takes sick days. AI never files complaints, never argues, never pushes back. And when companies run the numbers, the choice becomes obvious. One HR manager costs $70,000 a year. One AI system, a monthly subscription. So they replace judgment with metrics. They replace conversations with dashboards. And they replace human decision-making with automated scoring. And here's the part that corporations will never say out loud. AI makes cost-cutting feel clean, no guilt, no confrontation, no accountability. When an algorithm denies your raise, your boss can shrug and say, "It's the system." And to corporate America, that's the perfect shield. But the trap goes deeper than cost savings. Because once a company replaces human oversight with machine oversight, your entire workday becomes a stream of numbers. And that leads to trap number 2. Trap 2. Quantified worker logic. In the new workplace, you are no longer seen as a person. You are seen as data. Every step you take, every keystroke you press, every second you pause, is captured, analyzed, and fed into a scoring model. Steps per minute, units per hour, keystrokes per second, call duration, customer sentiment, error rate, idle time. All of it becomes part of a digital profile, one you never get to see. And the system uses that profile to determine whether you're a high-value worker or someone the company can quietly push out. This is the logic of quantified labor. It doesn't care about context. It doesn't consider effort. It doesn't understand that people have good days and bad days. To the algorithm, you are a sequence of metrics, and metrics can be optimized. That's why workers across America feel the pressure rising, not from their manager, not from their coworkers, but from an invisible force that expects them to perform like machines. And once your work becomes numbers, your value becomes numbers too. This is the trap most Americans don't see coming. Because when corporations treat you as data, they eventually pay you like data. And that's what leads to the next evolution of this system, a future where your salary is generated, ranked, and adjusted by code. Trap 3. AI removes negotiation power. There's a truth most workers in America haven't realized yet. When AI becomes the one measuring your value, it slowly becomes the one deciding your pay. And that creates a trap you can't argue your way out of. Because you can negotiate with a manager, you can't negotiate with a scoring model. A manager might listen. A manager might see your effort. A manager might understand your situation. An algorithm doesn't. It doesn't know you stayed late. It doesn't know you helped a coworker. It doesn't know your equipment malfunctioned. It doesn't know you were sick, stressed, or struggling. It only knows the numbers you produced. And if those numbers fall below its threshold, your raise disappears before any conversation can happen. Salary discussions won't be discussions anymore. They'll be automated outcomes. And the worst part is this. By removing human judgment, corporations remove human empathy. When the system says you're not worth the increase, no one steps in to reconsider. The algorithm becomes the final word. Many case gig workers already live in this future. If you think this sounds like a far-off dystopia, look at the gig economy. Uber drivers already get paid based on dynamic pricing models they can't see. The system tracks their speed, their acceptance rate, their cancellation rate, and adjusts their earnings in real time. DoorDash couriers are scored by hidden ratings that determine which orders they receive and how much they make per delivery. Instacart, Lyft, Grubhub, every platform uses performance algorithms to decide a worker's income. No interviews, no reviews, no negotiation. Your pay rises or falls based on data you never control. And millions of Americans are already living inside this algorithmic marketplace, where your value shifts minute by minute. This is the prototype of the corporate future. What happens to gig workers today will happen to office workers, warehouse workers, and retail workers next. But here's the part most people don't see coming. The next evolution is far worse. AI won't just judge your performance. It will determine your market value. And once a machine starts deciding what you're worth, the entire American salary system changes forever. How AI converts you into a salary score. Here's where the story turns from unsettling to unavoidable. Unseven. To understand how AI will decide your salary, you need to understand one thing. It converts you into a score. First comes scoring. The system collects data from cameras, sensors, keystrokes, call logs. Everything you do in a workday becomes a measurable signal. It analyzes your speed, your precision, your accuracy, your consistency. Then comes benchmarking. Your score is compared to thousands of workers in similar roles. In your company, in your region, and eventually across the entire industry. End quote. You become a data point inside a giant American labor database. And the final step is wage banding. Your score determines which pay tier you fall into. Tier A gets the highest raises. Tier B gets average increases. Tier C stays flat or gets replaced. And here's the part most people never hear. These bands adjust automatically. If your performance dips, even for a short period, the system quietly pushes you down. If it rises, you move up unless the algorithm decides your increase isn't cost-effective. No manager discusses it with you. No conversation is scheduled. No one reviews the context. Your career trajectory narrows down to a number, and that number follows you wherever you go. But now we reach the most dangerous flaw in the system. AI isn't objective. It's only as fair as the data it's trained on. And the data of the American workplace? It carries decades of bias. There are real cases documented where hiring algorithms downgraded women simply because the company's past top performers were mostly men. Another system penalized older workers because younger employees happened to have faster typing speed and fewer breaks. Some models even produced worse performance predictions for people with accents because the audio data came from homogeneous training sets. These aren't hypothetical problems. They're happening. And here's why it matters for your salary. When AI misreads your performance, it misprices your value. You could be underpaid not because you failed, but because the model carried someone else's bias. And when an algorithm decides you're low potential, your raises dry up long before anyone realizes the data was flawed. To workers, it feels like the system is unfair. To companies, it feels data-driven. And to the algorithm, there is no difference. This is the bias explosion. The moment when AI amplifies the inequalities the workplace already has and hides them behind mathematical credibility. The invisible manager problem. But even bias isn't the biggest shift. It's the disappearance of human oversight. In the new workplace, nearly 80% of how you're evaluated comes from data collected automatically. Camera vision models analyze your posture. Motion sensors track your pace. Software logs every click, every second, every deviation. And managers? They rely on the system's reports more than their own observations. Your boss no longer supervises you. Your boss interprets what the algorithm says about you, and that creates a new kind of workplace power. An invisible manager that never sleeps, never stops watching, never stops judging. You can ask a human to reconsider. You can explain a mistake. You can show them your effort, but you can't reason with an algorithm. You can't see how it thinks. You can't challenge the data. You can't appeal the conclusion. Your boss becomes a black box. And once that black box controls your evaluation, the system begins to control your salary. Not because it's accurate, not because it's fair, but because it's automated. Psychological fallout. But there's another consequence hidden beneath all this automation. One that doesn't show up in any corporate report. The psychological cost. In workplaces where every action is tracked, stress becomes constant. Surveys across American companies show that more than 60% of workers feel they're being monitored too closely. Over 70% say they're afraid one mistake will be recorded forever. And nearly half report symptoms of burnout, not because of physical workload, but because of productivity anxiety. That's the quiet pressure that never eating turns off. The feeling that the system is watching you even when no one else is around. The fear that a slow hour, a bad day, or a minor error will drag your score down. And in these environments, workers don't feel supervised. They feel hunted by expectations they can't meet every minute. Mental health researchers have warned about this trend for years. When humans compete against data, humans always lose. And the emotional toll isn't measured in spreadsheets. It shows up in exhaustion, in fear, in a growing sense that your job isn't a job anymore. It's a race you can never stop running, a future without second chances. But what makes this system truly dangerous is that AI never forgets. Every mistake gets logged. Every slowdown gets recorded. Every deviation becomes part of your permanent file. And that file follows you. Across teams, across departments, across promotions, sometimes across companies. In the past, a worker could have a bad week and bounce back. You could explain, You could talk to someone. You could show improvement. But in an AI-managed workforce, a bad week today could cost you thousands in the next decade, because salary growth is cumulative. If the system decides you're low value this year, you start lower next year, and even lower the year after. It becomes a downward spiral, not because you're unskilled, but because the system captured a moment in time and turned it into a permanent judgment. And once that judgment is encoded into your salary score, there are no second chances. Not when algorithms decide your future, not when data becomes destiny. But here's the twist no one is ready for. AI won't stop at tracking your work. It won't stop at scoring your performance. It won't even stop at determining your pay today. The next generation of systems will monitor something far more powerful, your potential. And once a machine predicts who you might become, not who you are, the entire idea of fairness in American workplaces changes forever. Predictive salary algorithms. We've reached the part of the story that feels impossible, but is already being tested inside American companies. Because AI isn't just measuring who you are today, it's predicting who you might become tomorrow. These systems analyze thousands of data points, your attendance records, your past performance, your typing patterns, your communication habits, even how quickly you respond to messages. And from that data, the algorithm builds a forecast, a loyalty score, a turnover risk score, a promotability rating, 3 numbers that can quietly reshape the rest of your career. Imagine being labeled high turnover risk because you updated your LinkedIn page. Imagine being tagged as low promotability because your tone in emails is more direct than the model prefers. Imagine being marked as unreliable because the system detected a slight dip in your energy during the graveyard shift. And none of these predictions come from a person. They come from probability models. You're no longer evaluated based on what you've done, but what the system believes you will do. And for millions of workers, that's the most terrifying part. Because once AI predicts your future, it begins to control your future. How companies will use this? And here's where the incentives shift. Not for workers, but for corporations. Companies love predictive systems for one reason. They help them decide how much to pay you with minimal effort. All Ronan, 80 mark. Imagine a salary system where your raise isn't based on performance, but on risk. If the algorithm predicts you're likely to stay in your job, your raise might shrink. Why pay more when the model says you're loyal enough to stay anyway? But if the system thinks you might quit, your salary could be adjusted just enough to keep you. A tiny bump, a calculated incentive, not based on your value, but on your predicted behavior. And here's the twist that corporate America won't admit. Workers who are easy to negotiate with will be paid less. Workers who never push back will be paid less. Workers who depend on their job will be paid less. Because the algorithm learns who has leverage and who doesn't. It knows who will stay quiet. It knows who can't afford to leave. It knows who will accept a smaller raise without complaint. And those workers will be squeezed hardest. This is algorithmic exploitation, quiet, mathematical, and completely legal. In this future, salary isn't a reward, it's a strategy. A tool companies use to shape behavior, reduce turnover, and maximize profit. And the most chilling part is this. You won't even realize it's happening. Because every decision will look objective. Every pay change will look rational. Every raise or denial will come wrapped in the authority of data. AI-controlled HR ecosystem. We're entering a phase of automation the public doesn't fully understand yet. Because AI in the workplace isn't one tool. It's becoming an entire ecosystem. It starts with recruiting. AI screens your resume, flags your behavior patterns, and predicts your long-term value before you even meet a human. Then it moves into onboarding, where algorithms tailor your training and monitor your learning curve. Once you're in the job, AI takes over performance evaluation, watching your workflow, your speed, your interactions, even how long you hover over a decision. Then comes salary management, where the system adjusts your pay based on your score, your risk profile, and your predicted loyalty. And finally, termination algorithms decide when you're no longer cost-effective. All of it connected, all of it automated, all of it feeding the next decision in the pipeline. This is the AI-controlled HR ecosystem, a closed loop where every phase of your working life is governed by data. And once you're inside it, there is no single person to appeal to, no manager to persuade, no room for nuance. You're not navigating a workplace anymore. You're navigating a system, and the system doesn't negotiate. The economic shift. Now we reach one of the most profound economic changes in modern history. For decades, salaries in America were shaped by experience, performance, relationships, and timing. Imperfect? Absolutely, but human. AI replaces that with something radically different. Dynamic algorithmic pricing. That means your salary won't be a fixed number decided once a year. It will fluctuate like surge pricing, based on supply, demand, labor risk, and corporate goals. If the company needs retention, your pay bumps up. If the model predicts oversupply of workers, your rate drops. If your value score increases, your growth accelerates. But if it falls, even slightly, the algorithm will lower your raise before you ever know what happened. This turns the labor market into a real-time marketplace, a system where your worth changes, not once a year, but every minute of every day. And for the first time in American history, workers won't control the value of their labor. Algorithms will. Fair or unfair, right or wrong. This is the economic shift already beginning to unfold. But here's the single most dangerous part, the twist almost no one is prepared to confront. AI may actually decide salary better than humans. And if that becomes true, if machines genuinely outperform people in assigning value, then the old rules of the American workplace won't just vanish. They'll be replaced. And what comes next will redefine what it means to earn a living in America. Why AI might win? As unsettling as this future sounds, there's a reason it's moving forward so quickly. Because in many ways, AI might actually win. It has access to more data than any manager ever could. Industry trends, productivity patterns, labor metrics, spanning millions of workers across the country. It sees what humans miss. It detects patterns humans overlook. It evaluates performance without distraction or fatigue. And corporations love that. AI optimizes for efficiency. It optimizes for speed. It optimizes for output. And when companies compare results, algorithms often outperform human decision-making, not because they're wiser, but because they're relentless. They don't forget. They don't get tired. They don't get influenced by emotion or favoritism. They simply calculate. And in a system built on quarterly earnings and constant pressure to cut costs, that precision becomes irresistible. This is why the shift feels unstoppable. Not because AI is perfect, but because it aligns with the incentives of the people who control the workplace. And for the first time, millions of American workers are confronting a reality where their livelihoods are shaped not by human judgment, but by machine logic. But humans must set the rules. But here's the truth we can't ignore. If AI is going to shape the future of work, then humans must shape the rules. We need transparency. Workers deserve to know what data is being collected, how it's being used, and how their scores are created. No one should be judged by a system they cannot see. We need the right to explanation. If an algorithm denies your raise, downgrades your value, or flags you as a risk, you should have the right to challenge that decision. People cannot be reduced to an unreviewable number. We need limits on surveillance. Cameras shouldn't track every second. Sensors shouldn't monitor every movement. Data shouldn't invade every moment of a worker's day. There must be boundaries between productivity and privacy. And we need salary fairness standards, rules that prevent companies from letting algorithms drive wages downward without accountability. Technology should enhance opportunity, not erode it. AI can help us build a more efficient workplace, but without guardrails, it will build a more unequal one. And that is the truth every American needs to understand. And now we arrive at the truth that sits beneath everything in this story. AI won't simply decide your salary. It will decide your worth in the economy. It will determine who gets opportunities and who gets left behind, who rises and who becomes replaceable. It will define value, not through conversations, not through experience, not through human judgment, but through code. And for millions of American workers, that shift will reshape every part of life. Your income, your career, your stability, your future. But here's the part no one wants to admit. This future isn't guaranteed. It becomes reality only if we let it. Only if people stay silent while systems expand. Only if companies push automation without oversight. Only if workers accept decisions that no human ever reviewed. AI is powerful, but so is public demand. Unless people insist on guardrails now, transparency, fairness, accountability, machines won't just measure how hard you work, they will measure what you're worth. And once that happens, getting that power back will be almost impossible. So let me leave you with one question. A question that every worker in America will have to answer sooner than they think. Would you accept a raise from an AI? Would you accept a rejection? Would you trust a machine to decide the value of your time, your effort, your future? Because whether we're ready or not, that decision is coming. And the next generation of workers may never negotiate with a human again.